The outbreak of coronavirus has turned the whole world upside down. The outbreak prompted the president to make a pronouncement that there should be a nationwide lockdown in response to the outbreak. The lockdown did not leave out the colleges. It disrupted the programs in terms of teaching and learning. As a result, the principals of TVET colleges decided to come up with ways and means of supporting the students who are at home. The first broadcast of the lessons happened on the 15th of April 2020. I therefore want to request all the students, all the lecturers to commit themselves to watching these programs because these programs are meant for them. After each and every broadcasting, the lessons are sent to the website of TVET. They are also accessible on the website of the colleges. You don't need data to access that. I therefore want to lastly urge you, our students, our lecturers, to ensure that these programs are making an impact on these students, to prepare them for the examination. There is no more time left in the year 2020. Stay home, stay safe.
Hello again, level 4s. I hope now you have learned enough. I know it is quite tedious and it's a lot of work, but you really need this for your exams. Now, we are going to have a lesson that I enjoy the most, critical writing. Now, this critical writing has everything to do with book review, film review. As you all know, lots of movies we watch, but we just don't watch for fun. We watch so that we could have critical reviewing of it. And when we talk about critical, it means everything you watch, you must watch with a sharp eye. And also when you read, remember, everything we read, it's written with an opinion. And as we read it, we need to think about what we are reading. And do we agree with the opinion of the writer? Do we find the things that the writer wants us to find? Now, enough talking. Now, I will start with grammar. Which English teacher does not like giving a lot of work? I'm one of those. But this grammar will help you. But as you do it, it is also giving you a little bit of a message of what to look out for as we move along. So this will take you probably 1 minute as well. You've got choice back. I've underlined the words for you so that it is easier and quick. Make sure that your piece at the end of it, which is like a précis, should make sense. The 1 minute starts now. Okay, I bet the 1 minute is over. So let's have a look at it. I'm sure you cruised right through it, but there's a reason I would like us to read. One of the requirements is that you read a text critically in order to infer meaning, and that you then respond to the intended message. You also must demonstrate the ability not only to examine the text, but also to make some predictions. You should also read for enjoyment, but if needed, you should be able to summarize the written text. Is this easier than done? I bet it is easier than that. And you heard there, to summarize, meaning every time you read, you should be able to summarize the main points. Now, moving right along, we are going to be looking at film and book review. Now, film is always a highlight. I know most of us like watching movies, but as we watch movies, I hope this time I'm going to incite you to be able to watch movies, but as you watch, see what you could learn from it. Because remember what we said, anybody who has a movie, it all starts from a book. Many, you can see that. We also had Long Walk to Freedom. Where did it come from? It started from a book, then it became a movie. Recently, I don't know what your college watches, but we as level 4 at this college where I teach, we watch a movie known as Cry the Beloved Country. Now, this movie was a book written by Alan Paton. So from a book to a movie. And many of you might agree with me. Most of the times what you read, it is not always represented in the movie. Have you ever wondered why? I'll tell you why, and I hope I'm right and others lecturers will agree with me. The reason we insist that you read a book is because you get all those emotive words, all that emotive language. There's facts, but there's always an element of subjective language to it. And they cannot put everything in a book, in a movie condensed in 1.5 hours. But most of the times you find that most of the movies that have been done or shot are always predicting the most essential things that you need to learn. And that is what the writer intends of you to write. So what does a movie director do? They always try to direct it nicely. So, in a movie, when we do a movie review, this is some of the things that you need to look out for and think about. When you review, it's someone who gives his or her own opinion. Again, opinions come back. Do you see how opinions matter? In everything that we do, our opinions count because they define who we are. They define a stand. So when you watch a movie, you should be able to review it using your own opinion. And then it is always about the quality of the book, the quality of the movie, and sometimes it is because you have watched it in a restaurant or a live show or a piece. We always need to review. So the point of view of any reviewer is to give a viewer's opinion and recommendations. Now, this is key, recommendations. Would you be able to recommend this movie to somebody? Then we shall go back to the elements of media. When we watch a movie and when we review it, we use biasness, we use prejudice. Why? Sometimes some people even stereotype. We go back to those words that we learned, but mostly we stay with biasness and prejudice. You will hear some people will watch a movie, we are lots of us from a movie theater. When we walk out, others will say, that's the best movie I ever watched. Others will go like, I could have watched or spent my time otherwise, because they didn't find the movie interesting. Why does this happen? Because again, we are opinionated. Our viewpoint, our beliefs, the way we see things. Is there anything wrong with that? No. Does that stop you from reviewing a movie? Absolutely not. Because all of us will be judges of that. Now, you can't just say that the movie was not good, or I give the movie 2 stars or 3 stars. Why not? You need to give us reasons. Now, let's see some of the ways you could give these reasons. Now, in every film review, there are a few things that we need to look out for. First of all, we need to have the title of a film. Everybody needs to know the title of the film. Once you hear the title, I'm going to use this one that we watch at the college where I teach, Cry the Beloved Country. If you hear a title like that, you wonder, why would a country cry? That's intriguing already. Then, when you review, you need to say when it was released, so that we decide, is it a very old movie? Is it going to be showing me old stuff or not? Who is the director? Some people watch movies with an association of a director because they trust that director, or that director is very good at directing movies. Then you think about the leading actors. You know, in every movie that you watch or every book that you will read, there's always a person that keeps coming up again and again. The name, the name, the name. In this case, we have a man, let me just write it down there. He's a pastor, and that's another thing. When you associate with a person, that helps. Now, the leading actor here, there are two people. The one person is, oh, come on. This Khumalo name keeps coming up and again. There's Khumalo's sons, there's Khumalo cousins. Those are the lead people. Another person that comes a lot is a name by Jarvis. Another one that comes along a lot, and you will hear a lot in this movie, Cry the Beloved Country, is a name Musimangu. These three characters are the leading characters in this movie, Cry the Beloved Country. And they keep popping up. Now, many of us would associate ourselves with them. Why? Because they are part of the movie. Then we also look at the genre. What are we watching? Are we watching an action? Are we watching a thriller? Are we watching a drama? And the list goes on. You can have a look there. You can see I've listed a few. Now, another one that most of us fail to do when we are reviewing a movie, and this I'm talking because of the exam. This is where we lose marks, and this is where it carries most of the marks, the setting. When we talk about the time and place, we are not talking about 4 o'clock. We are not talking about 5 o'clock. We are talking in the time. Was it during apartheid time? Was it during colonization? Is it during the 21st century? That is the kind of time that we are talking about. When we talk about the place, when you're watching a movie, you need to be able to see where each scene is taking place. Is it in a train? Is it outside? Are we by the river? Are we in the countryside? Are we in a big town? Where are we? That's the kind of places that we're talking. And as you talk about all those, what is happening? What is the action happening in those places and in that time? You must always go with the movie according to the time and the place. Then the plot. The plot always gives us an overview, a brief summary of what is happening in the events. Now, this movie has turns and twists. It changes, the events change, the emotions. The beauty of this movie is that it evokes your emotions. It will turn your emotions right, left, and center. Some of it is very painful. Some of it is, and because of pain, you might miss out on the actual theme that the person is trying to tell us, the book writer as well as the film. Theme is what is the writer trying to make you understand or see. Now, this movie is very interesting, and I would urge you to watch it. And it is a movie that teaches you quite a lot. It is not always what you see, and things always turn. Then lastly is the conflict. When you hear conflict, I know where your mind is going. You think it's war, you think it's trouble, you think it's fight. It's not what we're talking about. In everyday lives, and that's why we deal with opinions that we write about, we have conflicts. In our mind, we are fighting with, is this right? Is this not right? Do I like doing that, or don't I like doing that? Do I like what that person said, or don't I like what that person said? Am I going to fight the statement that person said? All these are conflicts. Conflicts that we don't necessarily share, but with our actions and with our opinions, the way we handle situations, they come through. So this movie, as you watch, it has a lot of conflicting information and emotions. So it is a very interesting movie to look at. So at this point in time, I would love to encourage you to watch this movie with me. But as you watch, it's just a trailer. It's not the whole movie, so don't panic. But as we watch this trailer, I want you to focus on, remember, the setting, the plot, the narration. What is the narrator telling us? Look at every scenery, where it is happening, the time, and the places. Have a look with me.
from the internationally acclaimed novel that has touched the hearts of millions.
All we ask for is justice! Justice!
Miramax Films and Distant Horizon present the extraordinary story of a man of peace and a man of power. Two fathers entangled in a mystery.
This is a terrible thing that's happened. And he was a great fighter for justice.
Two lives linked by destiny.
I expect you knew this man, Arthur Jarvis.
I knew the father. We've never spoken. Whoever did this, find them.
Two worlds about to collide.
We've got them, and we know which one pulled the trigger.
And where was this?
Tell me what you would not tell him.
I'm scared.
Tell me. No trouble will come to you.
James Earl Jones.
Here at my heart, there is nothing but fear, fear, fear.
Richard Harris.
My son was their champion, you know.
What they searched for were answers.
This is a case of murder and nothing less than murder.
What they discovered was the greatest truth of all.
There is something between you and me.
Alan Payton's Cry, the Beloved Country.
That was just a short version, a trailer of what the movie is all about. I hope you watched the sceneries. You saw the beginning. We were taken from one end to another. I saw a river. I saw a young girl holding a letter. Do we do letters nowadays? So you can tell what time that is. Those are the kind of times we are asking you to do. If you look at the man, that is the white man that was in the background called Jarvis. He's on a horse. Do we have horses nowadays? Not in many places. So you can tell about the time. You can see that there was a train also, a locomotive train, steam train. It's not an electrical. So all those little gritties are the ones I'm asking you to pay attention to. And then you can tell the time, the places. The places changed. And that is some of the ways we can review by being or having a very critical eye and a critical thought of what is going on. So the challenge I want to leave with you with is, please do find this movie, even if you don't watch it at your college, because we all have different movies that we have chosen to watch. Please watch this movie. It's quite an intriguing one, and it will allow you to be very opinionated, but be cautious. Remember, when we are opinionated, we do not keep anger and insult and call names. The book review, I would touch a little because it is just similar to film review. Instead of having a director, we have an author, but everything else stays. The setting, the plot, the characters, all this we do. And also don't forget, in every film and book review, you need to rate it. Out of 5 stars, out of 10 stars, but you need to tell us you're rating it out of how many stars. Don't go to 20 and 100. We always stop at 10, but the best is to rate it out of 5. If you say 5 out of 5, it means it's a very good movie and you're recommending people to watch it. If you say 1, clearly you don't want many people to watch. So there you have it. Please never forget to rate a book or a film. That is very important. And even when you do it in your exam, at the bottom there, never forget to rate a book or the film and recommend it for others. And don't be afraid to say, hey, I would recommend it for anybody to read because it gives you. Don't just say, I recommend it. That doesn't really give a good hypnosis. Always say, I recommend it because of 1, 2, 3. 1 or 2 sentences, doesn't have to be long. That is both for film and review. Now, as usual, an English teacher, this will just allow you to be able to see what of some of the things that you could do, but as well for paper 1, you're preparing for paper 1. So as again, I have underlined words that I would like you to work with, and as you do it, read it, because when you read it, then you know what choice you're going to make. Otherwise, in 1 minute, which is beginning now, we shall convene. Hello again. I know the 1 minute is up. I don't know whether you found anything challenging, but there was one tricky bit, and I wonder what you did out there. So there you have it. There are our answers. So there are so many different novels to choose from. So either the lecturer can prescribe one, or the students may make their own selection, provided the lecturer is satisfied with their choice. A great advantage about choosing ourselves is that we all have different tastes. That is key. We all have different tastes. We don't always, and that is why when we are rating, some of us will say, I liked the movie, or I didn't like the movie, or I loved the book, or I did not love the book. But many people like to read a book first before they watch the film version of books, while others dislike the thought. Do you think a film is ever as exciting as a book? I leave that to you. But knowing you level 4s, I know you like doing it the other way. May I urge you, it is always good to first read and then you watch the movie. Now, a quick recap, which is very important to have a quick recap. I love this critical thinking because it really allows us to see how things are. There we go. I tried to review with you the movie Cry the Beloved Country. I can write it there very quickly. It's a very good movie. Oh, sorry about that. And we looked at a few pointers that we can work with, and that is the title of the movie or the film that you're going to choose to watch, the year it was released, which can be any year. I think this, sorry about this. I think this was released a long time ago. So I'm going to try and do it better than I am doing. And if I can't write it anyway, the movie's name now you know, it's Cry the Beloved Country. And the year it was released, we will figure it out, maybe 2004, maybe 2002, not quite certain about that. Then we need to look at the director of the movie, which that you will find when you're watching the movie at the bottom there. The lead actors that I mentioned there's a Mr. Khumalo with his family of Khumalos. There's there are cousins there, there's a brother. Then we have a man called Jarvis, Mr. Jarvis. And then we have Mr. Musimang. All these are the three featured characters that are appearing most of the times, besides the son of Jarvis, who is called Arthur. So it is very important to keep those names when you're watching a movie. Find the lead characters or the lead actors and keep them in mind because they mean something. And then you figure out, what does each and every one of them hold? What role are they playing? How do they often appear? Are some minor characters or they are the main characters? But these three are the main characters. And this one, Khumalo, being two, one is a politician and one is a priest. So there you have it. Never forget to put the genre, never forget to have the setting. And remember what I said, the setting is not the time like 4 o'clock. It is during what period of time that this film was shot or this book was written. The places, is it in the countryside? Is it in the town? Is it inside a train? Is it in a room? All those things count in a movie. And then the plot, what is actually going on in this film or this book? There's always one thread or two. There's one thing that is being emphasized. And then always when you watch a movie or read a book, there is something the writer or the director would like you to learn. Having all those in mind, not forgetting the conflict, where we look at our emotions. What emotions are going through? Are they going to accept or are they not going to accept? Are they going to react? Are they not going to react? Are they going to be abusive or are they going to retreat? Those are all the things. So those are the emotions that you capture there when you're watching the movie. Level 4s, I would like to believe that I have given you enough insight, and we will meet in the next lesson, hoping that you will learn a little bit more.